a microblogging platform used by millions of people across the globe for different purposes, social activities, business, and networking. Something happened recently in Nigeria when the federal government of Nigeria banned the use of Twitter for the Nigerian populace. Now, this elicited a lot of reactions from different people, some for and some against. But today, these issues, how the ban of Twitter is going to affect Nigerians, is what we'll be talking about on this episode of Kontronaija, a platform where we give young people the opportunity to talk about issues as it affects them. Kontronaija is powered by WakeUpAfrica360.com, and I am Akudo Abengoe. We do not know what will happen tomorrow, but as at today, as at this rainy day in Lagos, Nigeria, Twitter is banned in Nigeria. The use of Twitter is no longer available for Nigerian people. And we'll be talking about how the ban is going to affect Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, and the general Nigerians. But today to discuss it with me is Joan Yakubu. Thank you so much for coming on Kontronaija.
Thank you very much.
It's so good to have you.
Really
I hope you're enjoying the weather.
Well, I am.
So I'm going to just go directly to ask you the first question.
Okay.
Do you use Twitter?
Yes, I use Twitter before now.
Okay, so what exactly do you do on the platform?
Okay, I'm an upcoming journalist.
Okay.
So I use the platform to access information all over the globe, like local and international news. So I use it for that, and also to get gist, like Twitter savage. I use that.
So you would say that Twitter is actually very useful for you?
Yes, it's very, 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 very.
So recently, as of today that we're doing this recording, Twitter is banned in Nigeria.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that? Let's even start from there.
It's a very, very sad thing, because looking at this 21st century, Twitter is one of the platform whereby we used to access information generally. And now this is like a restriction to freedom, restriction to getting information all over the world. So it's a very, very saddening thing.
Yeah, so because you said you used to get information there, the information that you got on Twitter are very useful to you.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now that Twitter is currently banned? How would you get information? Definitely this would affect you.
It will affect me very, very well, because I have a friend also who runs a website whereby she gets most of her information from Twitter, like news, on and on like that, for us to update her platform. So at this moment, it's very, very difficult to access information. But then we have no choice than to, the word keeps going around. There are websites whereby you can go, Google is there, so you can access it. The banning of the Twitter does not mean the world will stop. It will stop for us, but then we still have our way around to get information.
Yeah, but you know, there's this saying that yes, you can get information from other sources.
Yeah.
But there was this general notion that any information you get from Twitter is almost very, very true, because even government agencies tweet information on their Twitter account. So when you go out there on those other platforms to get information now, how would you be able to verify that those information are actually true?
Well, at this point, it's a very, very challenging thing. It is very, very challenging, because like you said, a lot of people are there on Twitter. You have, taking a close look, the case of Donald Trump, when he was still in power. Most of his information, like he tweets every day, says so many things. So getting information now to get the facts and main source, it might take a bit time to get a solid information, because it's not as instant as Twitter. But then we still have our Facebook platform there. There are some people who still run Facebook platform. Recently, I was just on my Facebook platform, and a lady was like, I'm back, or they chased us from Twitter, so I'm back here on Facebook. So definitely we still have to find a way of revolving to get solid information.
Yeah. So now let's get to the actual way that the ban would affect Nigerians.
Okay.
Apart from getting information from Twitter, like from people like yourself, others also do business on Twitter. You know, we've had to order goods on Twitter. You have Twitter influencers, you know, advertising products of people. What is your general impression of the business scenario now that Twitter is currently banned in Nigeria?
It is very very challenging because um, prior to this time, I had a discussion with some of my friends that okay, what do they feel about this Twitter ban thing? That what's the effect on them? Some of them are telling me it's affecting their business. In fact, I have a friend who tell me that 40% of his customers are from Twitter, and then at this point now everything has dropped to 10% because he can't even access them on Twitter. So it's really affecting. And when you talk about influencers too, that is where they get to advertise people's products. Before, most of the informations are sent there, the advertisement, before they now send it down to other platforms like Facebook, like Instagram. So it is very very challenging.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a break and we'll return back. I will continue with John Yakubu. Welcome back. Before now, I was speaking with John Yakubu, a Twitter user who's actually letting us know how badly the ban on Twitter currently happening in Nigeria is affecting herself and other businesses. So, John, welcome back
Thank you
to
very
the show.
much.
So, I was going to ask now, the fact that a lot of people earn their living of from Twitter and other social media platforms is a very good one because a lot of businesses in Nigeria now don't even have offices. People
Sure.
operate, because you can access them easily. But then one of the strong reasons why the federal government banned Twitter was the fact that it has become a platform where fake news is spread, where insightful information, is spread. Do you agree with that?
Well, we can say, looking at development now, we're in the 21st century, and you can't just assume that every other information that passes around is fake, because it's also a sign of development that we are developing. If there are no fake, how will you get the original? So definitely there will be some amount of news that will be fake and some amount of news that will be real.
Okay. So it's for you, it's a bit balanced. There could be
It's a
fake
balance.
and then there could be real.
Yeah.
But then other microblogging sites, such as Facebook, such as Instagram, are also effective, but
Yeah.
not as effective as
Twitter.
Twitter. Because I discovered that there are people that don't have Instagram accounts.
Sure.
There are some very important people in the society that don't have Instagram accounts. They don't have Facebook accounts, or they are not active, but they are active on Twitter. For such people now who are currently in Nigeria and who look like their only form of expressing themselves to a large audience has been restricted, how do you think they are really taking this ban? What do you think? Just try to put yourself in their shoes. What do you think is their reaction to this situation?
Putting myself in their shoes would be somehow difficult, but then it 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 is it's a difficult thing for them. It's really be a difficult thing for them because Twitter itself is not just for only accessing information. Like I said, there's a human part of it. In fact, it's a community on its own, because it's as if you have a family whereby you don't get to see yourself, but then you have this kind of conversation, so many funny things like that comes up. Like I said earlier on, the Twitter savage of a thing that comes up, and you get to meet a lot of people that you can't even get to meet them physically, but then you get to meet them online with that network. That's the thing is, it's very easy for someone to have more than one social media account. So it's not bad if they could start exploring other platforms like Instagram. Aside from Twitter, Instagram is also doing well compared to Facebook, because with Facebook, if you have a little phone, a little Android phone, you can always access Facebook compared to Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, but then let's talk about Twitter savage, as you put them. And they're not just on Twitter, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook.
Everywhere.
Let's talk about the general Nigerian audience reaction to stories on Twitter. We have people, who are professional trolls on social media, who tend to just, troll, especially at celebrities or personalities that they know that ordinarily they don't have access to. So there's a lot of savage comments. There's a lot of savage feedback from trolls on Twitter,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's just peculiar to Nigeria. Really, what do you think?
It's not just peculiar to Nigeria. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. In fact, comparing to a Westerner country, whereby some of these people might even tend to attack these artists physically whenever something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Looking at the case of Donald Trump, there are people, there are the citizens who attack him there on Twitter, say so many things wrong like that about him. But
Mm.
here we have respect now, so we've not
Do
even gone.
we? Do we have
We've
respect?
not okay. There's kind of form of level at which we communicate, but then we know what we are saying. But the way we say it, so we've not even gone to that extent of like calling someone this. Okay, we call Buhari boo boo. Like, it's a kind of way of just getting through to these people. And but then the savage of a thing, it can't stop because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Go to Instagram, it's everywhere. It's just everywhere.
Yeah, but unfortunately, some people get depressed just by feedback that they receive from people online. They throw out a nice picture or
And
an
then someone is
exciting
saying,
information. Oh, I just bought a new car. I just launched my house or my perfume line, and then someone is just saying a lot of things. It's so some people, especially those who are always trolled on social media, may be happy that Twitter is currently banned in Nigeria. Now let's go back to the reaction of Twitter towards the ban and then the federal government. So Twitter has tried to engage the Nigerian government on conversations on how to come back and whatever measures that can be put in place. Do you think that's a positive step in the right way for Twitter, wanting to engage? Okay, let's talk about what are your grievances. Why did you have to ban the use? Because I think Nigerians are one of the highest users of
Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, coming to the argument of what they could really do, I feel I don't, because looking at this, restricting people with information is a way of whereby you are seizing them of freedom. And we are talking about freedom, like we want freedom, that is a democracy era. But then it's okay, what would the discussion end with? Is it that don't allow, or there should be a restriction to what you can say, or there will be a restriction to this, or they will verify who is doing this or that? Everybody have a freedom of speech. So it's part of human rights. So I don't feel there should be a kind of restriction to anything though.
The government tried to justify its action by, and I think some countries, Nigeria is not the first country to ban Twitter, really.
Okay.
Other countries, Turkey, some countries in the past have put a ban on Twitter eventually. So I would say Nigerian government is just towing the line of
Towing
those
the
countries.
line.
But then they try to put up, their own defense, and they're saying, yes, the platform will be reopened, but then there has to be some processes. Twitter has to register. In fact, all social media platforms now has to go through a verification process with the Nigerian government before they can be allowed to operate in Nigeria, which people have also said that it's a gag on the freedom of speech. But as an upcoming journalist, you are going into the field, you will definitely experience this situations where you are not allowed to write or report news the way you see it.
Sure.
You would definitely experience things where news are pushed under the carpet because they don't want it to be seen. So what's your perspective about all of this whole, you have to go through a process, you have to do this? What's your perspective?
My perspective to this will be that no matter how the restriction will be, what is truth will always be truth.
Yeah.
So you can't just keep telling lies to ourselves, thinking everything is fine, everything is okay. But there will be some day that the truth will always come out. So no matter the kind of restriction they put into, no matter the kind of guard they put into, the truth will always find its way out.
Yeah. And do you think that this ban on Twitter has affected the way Nigerians, socialize on social media? Because it seems like all the other social media platforms are very active right now. Do you think it has really dampened our spirit about social media activities?
It has, like someone who is not used to every other platform. I was talking to a friend, and the friend was like, I miss Twitter, even though it's affecting my business, but then that Twitter savage thing, like, it makes them laugh because it
Yes.
elevates them. So men reading, some people like they go to Twitter to just read people's comments and then they come back and laugh. Like they find it so elevating for them to laugh throughout the day, even though there's nothing. The economy is not making us laugh, but then it's a way of adding humor to our society.
So you want your Twitter back?
We want Twitter
But you
back,
say you're not
please.
very active on Twitter. So now if they bring back Twitter, are you going to be active?
100%
What if there are
active.
restrictions that it's just become so boring? What would you do?
In Nigeria, we always have something to make us laugh, so it won't be as boring as it's going to
Honestly,
be.
honestly, the Nigerian spirit is one
We
that
don't
is
give up.
very, very indomitable. And Joan has also just said that no matter the restrictions on Twitter, when it comes back, if it comes back, Nigerians will always find a way to thrive. Businesses will always find a way to survive, and the Nigerians will never really stop laughing. That's our edition. Thank you, John, for coming.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, John, for coming. We
Thanks for
really
having
appreciate
me.
you. So this is where we call an end to today's edition of Kontronaija, a platform where we give young people the opportunity to speak about issues that it affects them. I've had Joan Yakubu talk about Twitter ban today. Kontronaija is sponsored by wakeupafrica360.com. And I remain Akuda Bingo. See you on the next episode. Bye for now.